So this video is for married people only. Just saying. I'm just kidding. Like, if you... Hey. Let's get one thing straight. Okay. I think I'm ready. Okay. Hey ladies. Welcome back to her Book Nook YouTube channel. Steph isn't here. Who is Steph? Just kidding, Steph. I love you, Steph, my redheaded ginger snap. Okay, so we figured that since it's the love month, Valentine's Day is coming up, it's February, we decided to do books based on relationships. I'm gonna do the one on marriage. I have a few different ones and a couple of them aren't here, so I'm just gonna mention those. So let's get into it. What books are we recommending that you read? Book number one is called Wild at Heart by John Eldredge. You've probably already heard of this book and you're probably thinking, why is she recommending Wild at Heart? It's predominantly known as a male book, a book for men, men of God who are wanting to discover the secret of a man's soul, okay? But let me tell you something. I read this book when my husband and I were just dating, and holy cow, girls, it helped me understand the secret to a male soul. Like, I'm serious. This not only talked about the relationship between a father and a son, it also shared a lot of biblical insight onto a man's heart and how God made men differently. And if you want to have a good relationship with your husband, ladies, you need to understand men. And I'm telling you, this is a great book to do that. So another follow-up book is the same author, actually, and his wife, John and Stacy Eldredge. I lost my cover to this, so that's why it's not as cute as this one. But it is called Captivating. Now, I have read this book a few different times over different seasons of my life, and the first time I read it, I was 17 years old, and oh my gosh, did my 17-year-old heart need this. It helped me heal over wounds between me and my father. It helped me just have a better mindset of myself as a daughter and as a princess of the Most High God. And we need to understand the male heart and the female heart, and both of these books are just great examples of doing that. So that's why I recommend both of those, especially together. The next book that I have is The Unbound Wife by Jennifer Smith, and I'm sure you guys have probably already seen this book floating around the web. She and her husband run their own ministry. It's awesome. I love them. Go check them out on Facebook. All of the things, just go and find them, because her book is awesome. And but I read about 3/4 of the way through. I'm still finishing it now, but it is just so good. And there's like follow-along questions. I seriously recommend this if you want to dive deeper into your role as a wife, biblically speaking, and how to better help your husband, how to better help yourself and take off that stress and all of those expectations that we come into marriage, because that's where we really get ourselves messed up. You know what I'm saying? The next book that I have is one that we actually read for her Book Nook last year, and it's called Women Living Well, and it's by Courtney Joseph. And this book is absolutely amazing. I mean, the tagline is Finding Your Joy in God, Your Man, Your Kids, and Your Home. I mean, this book just sums up everything about this video that I want you guys to understand. If you're married or newly married, or you've been married for 30 years, this book I highly recommend. Even if you don't have kids, you know, she works from home and she's a stay-at-home mom. Even if you don't relate to that and you're a working mom, you're a single mom, this book was absolutely amazing for me, just in the context of being married to my spouse and how to love him, but also how to know my place. It's such a great, well-rounded book on all aspects of life and relationships. The next book I have is a book that we did at my church. We did a book study on this book a few years ago, and it seriously changed my life. It was at a serious dark point in my relationship with my husband, where I was constantly being frustrated with him, like having my mind of how he should respond to me, or how I was thinking like he would react to something that I would share with him, and then I would be sitting here feeling like, well, he doesn't care about all of these things. No, if you struggle with voices like that, you need to read this book. I'm telling you, it's so good. It's filled with real stories of real women and their spouses, and how they came through struggles like that, and how they had better communication at the end of the day. This book is so good, and the tagline is Building an Intimate Marriage in a Fallen World. I mean, it's biblically based. It's just, you need to read it. Okay, Now for the juicy one. That's why this video is for the married women or the soon-to-be married women, okay? This next book is by Dr. Kevin Leman, and it comes highly, highly recommended. I've read this book a few different times. My husband and I have been married for almost 5.5 years now. We have our first daughter on the way, our first child on the way, and I have to tell you guys, sex is important. I said it, I said it. If you want to have a long-lasting relationship with your spouse, intimacy is important, but it also can be the most stressful part of your relationship with your spouse. When I was growing up, we just didn't talk about it. We just did not have conversations like that. Or maybe you went too far before you got married, and now once you're married, you're struggling with being intimate with your own spouse because of the things in the back of your mind that you've been holding on to. Maybe you feel guilty, you feel like there's fingerprints from other people on you. I'm telling you, this book is so good. It's not hyper spiritual, it's super practical. It's called Sheet Music by Dr. Kevin Leman, Uncovering the Secrets of Sexual Intimacy and Marriage. I'm gonna tell you, this is really fun. I recommend this for both men and women who are married or are engaged. Definitely read this book. There's a section to read before you get married, and then there's actually a section to read after you get married. But if you're already married, I mean, just read the whole thing. Like, you'll understand once you start reading the book. I don't want to get into too much juicy detail of how this book has seriously helped me and my husband, but I will just personally say that our intimacy and our marriage was going nowhere the first year that we were married, and it was all me. I was so frustrated. I was so scared to be intimate. I struggled all the time with just what was okay, like what was not okay. You know, girls, like, let's be real here. You know, you gotta get those other people, you gotta cut those ties spiritually with past relationships, and this book definitely helped me do that. It's not hyper spiritual, it's super practical with spiritual application, and I'm telling you, you need to read this book, Sheet Music by Dr. Kevin Leman. Okay, so the other two books that I have on my list that I don't have here because I've let other people borrow them, Love and Respect, so good. It talks about how men crave respect and women crave love, and that's even in the Bible. I mean, we talk about that all the time, like women, what's the biggest thing? Like, we're constantly feeling unloved, and for men it's, why isn't she respecting me? I'm doing all these things for her, I'm trying to help her, I'm trying to provide for her, but she doesn't show me respect. And so we get caught in this crazy cycle. That's the main part of the book, is you get caught in this crazy cycle of she's feeling unloved, so she's not respecting him, he's not feeling respected, so he's not loving her the way that she wants to be loved, and you get stuck on this crazy train, and it ultimately, you know, could lead to divorce, or it could lead to separation and all of these other issues that comes along with being married. So I definitely recommend that book, Love and Respect. And the last book is a fun one, and I think Steph has this one on her list too. It's called The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman. I highly recommend that book along with Love and Respect that I just recommended. Both of those books together are just, I mean, they're flawless. Love and Respect is more geared toward like your specific intimate relationship between the husband and the wife and how you differ and how you can better communicate. And also, the reason why I recommend The 5 Love Languages along with that book is it helps you understand your specific personality and your husband's personality and the things that make you uniquely different. I mean, there are aspects that can apply to everyone on a massive scale, you know, like how to communicate, like all these different techniques that you could try or whatever. But ultimately, if you don't know your spouse, you don't know how they're wired, you don't know what makes them tick because of their personality and how God specifically made them different than other guys, then you're never really going to connect. You're never really going to figure out exactly how to fill up his love tank, or he's not going to know how to fill up your love tank because you don't connect. You don't know how to get your words out. You don't know how to tell him exactly what it is that you want. So that book is so good. I believe all of these books are available on Amazon or at your local bookstore. You could check them out. But that's pretty much it for today's video. I know we got some juicy things in there, so I'm just saying, you know, these are great books, and this is an important subject. I mean, communication is such a big thing in relationships, and if we're not constantly trying new ways to better communicate with our spouse and in relationships in general, then we lose that relationship ultimately because we get disconnected. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There'll be a link to the blog below with all of these books, titles, and authors on them if I didn't get them in this video. And we hope to see you guys next week. Bye!